So the way that you get this trophy is you get all the abilities in one skill tree. So you're probably saying, well, how the heck did you get all the abilities and you just started playing the game? Well, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to take you through it step by step. And we got some other cool things that come along with it as well. First thing I need to do is get rid of all of my storage. Or all of my saves, I should say. So we can act like we're just playing the game for the first time. Because I don't know, I'm definitely going to incorporate this into the run because I don't really know how we're going to divvy up the skill points yet. And I don't know if we're going to ever have enough in our inventory to fill up one entire, well, we may, but I just don't know if I want to fill up one entire skill tree or not. You see what I'm saying? And that's what the trophy is all about. So what I'm about to show you will just allow us to get it at the very beginning of the game. So it's either going to be the first trophy we get, or as I'm routing the run, if I can't get enough skill points for us to fill up an entire, because I know we're going to have certain skills, right? But there's, I think, 5 skill trees, I believe. So the question is, do we need every single one of those for the run, you know, to fill up a tree? If we do, then of course we'll just let it pop naturally as we play. But if we don't, then we can go ahead and knock this out at the very beginning, or just save it to the very end of the run and do it then. It's a pretty cool trick. And the game actually tells you exactly how to do it too. Just to give you some context here, I'll get the game started first. Just to give you some context, if you've watched the first episode of the Breaking series, you know that I was testing NPC stuff with fights, and I had walked away from that fight, got the experience points, and at that point I had walked away from my console for a few minutes to, you know, get some food and, you know, that sort of stuff, right? Go to the restroom. When I came back, the game had auto-saved. And I'm so stupid that I didn't realize that there was 2 saves there, and that one of them was the one where I immediately got out of the fight, and the other one was 15 minutes later, where it had now saved my progress after the fight was over. I wanted to go back and test some fighting and combat stuff. Fighting and combat, that's the same thing, Zonovit. I wanted to test some combat stuff in the fight, and just was like, oh man, somehow I lost that save. So I quit the game and came back to the main menu, and it gave me a New Game Plus option. And then my mind just started racing. If it's going to allow me to jump into New Game Plus just by simply starting to play the game and then backing out and coming back into the menu, then there's definitely got to be a trick here with being able to actually play New Game Plus from the very beginning. Otherwise, it wouldn't even be in the game. And this is what I ended up noticing. So I completely closed the application, got rid of all my saves, like you just saw there, all my storage, came back into the game fresh, and noticed this prompt. Now, I noticed this prompt the first time that I started up the game, but I knew that I wanted to include the DLC with our trophy hunt. I didn't want to do them separate. At least I didn't think I wanted to. So that's basically hunting down all 79 trophies at once, right? But when I came back and I read this over again, I was like, wait, you can play just the expansions without even playing the base game. See what I mean? And so that's when my mind started racing. So I came back here, I selected New Game, noticed that New Game Plus is grayed out, and I just picked one of these. I don't know which one. I don't know if it really matters. I just picked this one. In fact, I'm going to pick the other one, because when I picked this one, I know what I got. I'm going to see if it's the same. I'm going to pick this one this time. So basically what we're going to do is not really trick the game. We're doing exactly what the game wants us to. This is not a glitch. This is legit. And you'll see the prompt here in a second. Basically, you have the ability to start in a DLC. When you start in a DLC, obviously DLC is basically, they assume that if you're playing the DLC, you've already beaten the game. And because they've packaged them all together, there's supposed to be a line there, but there's actually not. So you can basically start DLC, create a manual save, right? And then when you go back into the main menu like we just were, the New Game Plus option will be available. And you're not supposed to be able to play it unless you've beaten the regular version of the game. Because you have a save set up inside the DLC, boom, the game thinks you've already beaten the base version of the game. And then you're able to access the New Game Plus option inside of the base game. And we're not really, I don't think it would be beneficial for us to play through the game at New Game Plus, just because we're trying to make the game as easy as possible. But I'll show you what happens. Some of you may already know about this, but if you don't, it's pretty cool. There's the thing that tells you exactly how to do it, right? You have unlocked the ability to start New Game Plus. To do so, create a new game save, which I'm gonna do right now. You gotta wait a few seconds. Do all these prompts and everything. I like to wait for all the text to go away on the left, then save. See, so I'm gonna make a save in the manual slot, and it takes a few seconds. There it goes right there. So you can see game save. So if I go back in there now, there it is. Okay. Now we go back to the main menu. So this is kind of what happened earlier when I was playing just the regular game. Couldn't get the autosave to work like I thought it was supposed to, so I quit the game. I said, I'm just going to play back through to that point, and then I'll be able to test some other things. And then when I hit new game, I saw that New Game Plus had unlocked. And that's when I went on the little, my mind started racing. I hit New Game Plus and tried to load up one of my checkpoint saves, but it wouldn't let me. But that's because I'm still in, you know, the base version of the game. But watch this, New Game Plus. Continue. And see, it's giving me the manual save from the DLC. And then watch. Takes me straight into the game. Well, gotta watch the cutscenes, obviously. Well, we don't have to. We're gonna skip, but you know what I'm saying. Now I know what happened when I picked the other DLC. I'm just curious if it's a little different. If you've done this before, then you already know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, I'm trying to surprise you. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we're into the very first part of the game. This is the base game, no DLC. And if I go into my, oh, well, notice right here, level 34. So what it's doing is it's saying, hey, you've already beat the game before, right? Even though you didn't. So because there's nothing in your inventory, there's nothing that you brought over from your new game, we're just going to default you at certain stats. And you know, you got 20,000 crowns up there in the top left, and then this. Okay, so this is different. If you pick the other DLC, you only get 42 points. If you pick this DLC, the one we just picked now, you get 44 points. But it doesn't really matter because there's a trophy for getting Dendrologist. Acquire all the abilities in one skill tree. So you don't have to get all these skills done. There's 5 skill trees. Oops. Come on. I still got to get used to these menus. There's what? 5 skill trees. I guess you have to, oh, like that. Okay. See these? I guess that's not really a skill tree though. I don't really know. Mutagens. I guess there's 4 skill trees. These obviously require a lot of skill points, but this one doesn't. So all I did was come in here with my skill points, hit square on each one of these. Got the trophy, and you have plenty. And it doesn't matter which DLC you pick because you get 42 for the other one and 44 for this one. And you're probably saying, well, why don't we just continue to play like this? We'll have a bunch of, I don't know. I have to test it. The problem is that the enemies in this game level up as you level up. So, well, let me take that back. There's an option inside of your menu that you can pick to where they level up when you level up. Of course, ours is off. We want to be over leveled, right? The problem with New Game Plus though is it defaults all the enemies that used to be maybe 1 through 6. It defaults them to level 33. So even though we're level 34, we're not, I mean, we're basically even. So it just depends on how it scales. I mean, if we're level 34 and the enemies are level 34, maybe it's all balanced at that point. I mean, we would have, you know, the ability to unlock some of these skills, and we could, like I said, we could do it across all these skill trees. So I need to look up and see which one of these are the best. So it may be beneficial for us to start the run this way. I don't know. I won't know until I run the game a few times to figure that out. But just knowing that that's an option, it's great. But just for this trophy alone, it's going to be worth it. Because like I said, if we are playing the game, even if we had, 25 skill points, however many skill points, what was that? 5, 10, 15, 20. Even if we had, well, I don't even know if we're ever going to have 20 skill points on our character because we're going to have to be leveling stuff up. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think there's ever going to be a point in the run where we're going to have 20 free skill points to get this trophy. I think if we have 10 skill points, we need to be putting those into skills, to level up, because we are going to be playing on the Death March difficulty. So that's why I'm saying I think knocking this out first, and then, or either saving it to the very end, it's probably going to be the best play. But just knowing that we can knock this trophy out is really good, because I was kind of worried about, I worry about these type of trophies, because then you're going through the game looking for ability points. And now when we play, knowing that the trophy's already behind us, yes, we need ability points, but we don't need as many as we would have needed if we didn't have the trophy.